And we are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are the leads on development and design here at Codename.
We also founded Codename too.
That's true. We're going to be your hosts for this episode and every episode.
Because when we're not here, the show doesn't happen. No one knows how to run the show.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, it hasn't happened.
That's true.
He snuck in and ran it without us.
We wouldn't really know, would we?
Yeah.
Anyway, today is our 155th episode.
That's true. You planning to stick around for this entire episode today?
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly? What do you mean sadly? Like, don't you want to be here?
Oh, yes, sorry. I mean, sadly that there's no rocket launch today.
I thought something was supposed to launch today.
I thought so too.
Not rocket related, though.
Sadly.
You just keep saying that. They're going to get the wrong idea.
No, whatever it is, though, I'm sure it'll be epic.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not sure this intro will make any sense to most people.
No, it doesn't have to. It just gets us to the next part of the show.
Right, that's the part of the show where we answer development and design questions about idle champions and fix your mic whine issue.
What? It's back? We switched mics. This can't be true.
Eloria likes the whine. It's part of the show now. It's part of our charm.
Only when I talk. Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe it's just my voice. This is 1.5. I was working with 1.1 last time. I don't know how this could be.
Maybe we should just trade mics and then see if that...
Sure, there you go.
Okay. Wait, where's the hold of my mic? There it is. Okay.
This was totally in the script.
Okay.
There, now it'll be Justin.
We've traded mics. Now there's a whine when I talk, right? Yeah?
Cool. Well, anyway, if we don't fix the wine and if you don't ask any questions, however, you might have to suffer through Justin's one-man reenactment of, what do we got this week? Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 6, Episode Once More with Feeling. That's the musical episode, right?
Yeah, you're really going to be missing out if you ask questions this week. I've been practicing my arias all week.
Ooh, I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
Fine. Well, where do we go from here?
Oh. The rest of the show, I suppose. All right. As always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous week's show that we didn't get to, so we will answer those while we are waiting for new questions to come in. And of course, I do have some items that we have flagged, some updates on items that we flagged to get looked at by the dev team. So without any further stalling for time, which we are so very bad at, we'll start with those. All righty. What do we have here?
A whole bunch of fixes and new features.
That's true. So starting off the list here, fixes and new features. We've got added a never open the active tasks setting to prevent it from getting opened each day. You asked for it here, you got it. In the Potion Manager, there's a speed pause button now, and it pauses speed from Modron Core and Shandy as well as from the potions. We added a pause button for Fire Breath potions to the Potion Manager. We added a confirmation to the reset and start objective button on the campaign map, which seemed like it should have been there to begin with. There's now a rework date and a release date when sorting by rework/release date on the champion search. Mahen's Fashionably Grumpy now counts a champion as having a skin equipped if they are set to random, also something that was asked for here. We moved the achievement star to the top right of the achievement box because I think that was it was in a confusing location. I don't know, you looked at that specifically.
Sorry?
Oh.
I was looking at questions.
The achievement star, the location of it.
Yes, it was on top of the icon. It kind of blended into a bunch of the icons, so
it was hard to see.
Yeah, we moved it.
We fixed an issue where familiars may not be placed correctly on the roaming ultimate bar after a Modron reset. Fixed an issue where a clearing formation did not clear the roaming familiars at all. And then we fixed an issue where the completed collections quest notification did not get dismissed if you went to the collection quest system to claim the reward. So good list of items there. And oh my gosh. Carl is saying there's wine for both of us.
Wow.
Oh.
These mics are just dying.
I don't know what could be happening there. All right.
I'm not touching anything.
I know we did have an issue we were seeing when one of them was when I was moving the mouse, it was causing a problem. We had that a few months back.
Maybe we just need to not move the mice.
I mean, if we stop moving anything, how does that sound?
Hands up.
So don't mouse.
No mouses, no whimes.
It's fine
It's
right
fine
now.
right now. It's just when you move your mouse.
What about your mouse? Move your mouse. See.
I'm just going to move my mouse around, and look, there's no whine when I'm moving my mouse around. Unless, do you think they're hearing the mouse actually on the table?
I don't think so.
That would be kind of bizarre. Okay, still no whine. Now move the wireless mouse.
Wireless mouse.
Yeah.
Wireless mouse. Yeah. How about that? All right, and then my regular mouse.
You're not really moving it
I
all
don't
that
know what's
much.
going on. You're both earthed. Not well grounded. All right, well, let's get to the questions. Starting with questions left over from last week. First question here is from OG17 asking, can Mahen's adoptive father glitch feat be given a secondary effect like modern feats? For example, Will's recent identical feat has an 80% pre-stack buff.
Yeah, I think we actually we talked about this last week, and this got highlighted as a yellow one for me to talk to Peter about. And Peter helpfully pointed out that the adoptive father feat for Mahen is rare, whereas the other kind of glitch feats that have had secondary effects on the in addition to the racial change or whatever, species change have been epic. So I think what we're thinking here is that rare feats that have these kind of switches will just be the rare feat, so we'll just have just the switch on them, and it has to go up to the epic level before it gets a secondary effect. So I think we're going to leave Mahen's alone, and if we were to do a epic version of that feat at some point, then we'd put a secondary effect on that.
Okay. Next question. This one is from Dust Mix. DU57MI73X. Dust Mites.
Dust Mite X. Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to call that. I was going to say that. And they're asking, are there any champions with upcoming feats that increase stats? I would love to see something like a +2 Constitution for Diana.
Yeah, so generally when we design new champions or we rework champions, we look at stat feats insofar as what will make them available for patrons, and we flag those as either as potential feats, and we usually either roll those out either as sort of launch feats, or we hold on to them for like skin and feat packs in the future, or emergences, or quarterly celebrations, or things like that. So I imagine we have a +2 con for Diana spec'd out if that's something that she needs to access Vajra, I guess. But that would be something that probably won't come out for a little while until we get to a point where we're looking for a Diana feat to stick in an emergence or a celebration or a DLC, and then we will do that at that point.
Okay. Next question. This one is from Rough Rider 1995 asking, can we complete multiple tiers of a variant in a time gate, please?
Yeah, so time gates, when we rolled out
multi-gate.
when we rolled out, well, it's not even multi. Yeah, it's when we rolled out Events V2 back in March of last year, I guess. They kind of overshadowed time gates. They're a much better way to get gear for champions. But we hadn't really done anything to bring time gates up to their level. So that is still something that's on our list of things we want to do, sort of time gates V3-ish, I guess. And once we get around to designing and implementing that, that will most likely include some sort of catch-up mechanic for event variants and tiers, so that you can get those event rewards if you happen to miss them in the event and you want to get them before the event loops back around.
Okay.
This next one's blue. Look at that. This one is from Sinister Scavus. And they asked, can we get a setting for mobile phones to make the ultimate icons bigger so they're easier to accurately press?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It sounds like something that we could take a look at and see what available space is there. I think one of the problems that we ran into with the ultimate bar spacing, especially on the UI that we use on PC, is that I think at the sort of the spec size, like the smallest size at 720p, we completely use up every pixel of space that we have there for the ultimate bar and the other menu icons that are down there, and the quick save, all that stuff that sort of all lines up, takes up the entirety of the space. It is possible that if you're on a higher resolution phone, that there's some extra space there. I'd have to see what that looks like. It's certainly something that we could look into if the space is available. But depending on how that's laid out, there may or may not be enough space to make too much of a difference there. But it's certainly something that could be looked at. And for those ones in particular, that space actually would potentially be usable. I know a lot of the buttons, unfortunately, particularly on mobile, are very difficult to hit, and that there aren't actually that much. There isn't actually that much leeway around those things to increase their size without running into other elements or taking up a whole lot of the space that is for the actual gameplay. So it's a little bit tricky, but that sounds like something that could be looked at. So I'll tag it. All right, next question. This one is from Rough Rider 1995, asking, with 2 new champions in an event, how do you decide which gets to be worth the wait? Can it be a choice for each player?
Yeah, good question. So we haven't done an event with, or have we done it? Did we do
a twofer?
Worth the wait when we did Aeon and Umberto? We may have. Yeah, I mean,
was it?
Unfortunately, I don't think we can make it a choice for each player. I don't think we have the tech to support that kind of thing. So it's just an arbitrary decision. I mean, maybe it's not arbitrary. I'm sure there's some sort of thought that goes into which one comes out first and which one comes out second. I'm not 100% sure what the thought was for Aeon and Umberto. But yeah, we do have another event coming up pretty soon. I think that'll have 2 new ones, and I think we're running Worth the Wait augment on that. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how it gets picked, but we definitely can't make it a choice.
Yeah, I think there's also some like marketing related beats and posts that go out with each one of those that would be difficult to do if it was a player choice.
Yeah, yeah, we don't want to be advertising the one that you chose not to get, and then the next week advertising the other one.
I guess I was thinking you wouldn't want to advertise the one you can't get, but I guess if you give them a choice, they're picking between the two. But
yeah, I think
that's not as big a deal as I thought off the top of my head.
I think it's just more straightforward to have them come out in a fixed order, have everyone sort of unlock them at the same time, and not have that variability there.
Right. I agree. I think it also would lead to the opportunity for people to have picked one. Everyone's talking about the other one, and then be like,
actually, I want to change.
Shucks, I want to go back and change it. And like,
I don't want to wait a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. On to questions from today. First question out the gate is from Arcus Sure, I'll go with that. Arcus
It sounds like a type of dinosaur to me.
Yep.
Though Google thinks it's misspelled, so.
Asking, why is the same champion unlocked as a key champ in all of the new patron variants that have been released on Wednesday? This champ only changes if you complete another variant, but if players are out of content, like I am, there's no chance to finish those when the system gave you a champion with an alignment like lawful neutral, for example. Could you please change the way the reroll of these key champs work?
Yeah.
I want to explain sort of overall how that's working to begin with.
Yeah, the key champion thing. There's some variants that have a key champion. I'm not sure what the ones that. This is the problem with designing stuff like 5 or 6 months ago and then releasing it this week. So I'm not 100% sure what the variants are for this one, but the idea with the key champion is there's one champion that you have to use. And maybe that's like the only champion that can deal damage or something like that. It sounds like there's probably some bugs in there, because it really shouldn't be picking the same key champion for multiple variants. Like there should be the whatever code picks what the key champion is going to be should be seeded on more than just one sort of global thing. It should also be seated on like the variant ID or something like that, so that you don't have this case where we release like, 15 variants that a bunch of which have this key champion thing and they're all the same champion. And then there's something it'll pick for patrons. It'll pick one where it can't be used. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna highlight this and talk this over with Peter, see what's going on here. I'm sure if you guys are asking about it, we've probably gotten tickets about it, and so the dev team is probably aware of it. But I will double check and see what's going on there, because yeah, that certainly should not be the case. It is not intended. It's not intended to pick a champion that you can't use, and B, it shouldn't be picking the same key champion for multiple variants all at the same time, unless you're just like, with luck you could get that, but it shouldn't be doing that by design.
All right. Next question. This one is from Garwar, who asks, when we asked you to fix the drift in weekly offers, I don't like where this is going. Why did you think?
It's just another tactfully crafted question from Garwar.
Oh boy. That just meant leaving us drifted, but not increasing the drift, instead of resetting everyone to Wednesdays at noon Pacifically, which is what we were looking for. So what did we do with that? Like, fill me in.
So for weekly offers, we had an issue where whenever it generated the offers, it set the end date for that set of offers to exactly 7 days from the generation date. And people were complaining about this because if they didn't log in and like check for new offers at exactly the same time, they would get another 7-day set, and it would be over, it would end like 7 days and 3 hours past when their previous set had
We didn't
ended.
lock them in at that drifted time, did we? Is that
No.
what this
So
is?
the thing we did was I set it to basically
Yes,
reset.
you did. Gar says, yes, we did.
No, we didn't set. It is. They are now set to. They are now set up to reset at noon Pacific on a day of the week. That is at least 6 days, but no more than 7 days from when they are generated. Now, I'm getting yelled at, but
Drifted. At least it's not the drifted time. It's not like if it was 2 a.m. on the
no,
Friday.
you don't
it's now
always
2.
get it 2 in the morning. It is set to noon on a day. And the reason it's not the same day for everyone is because you guys like our servers to be up. And if everybody's offers reset at the exact same time every week, our servers might crash.
Now you can still drift, right? Like you can move on to the next day.
You could move on to the next day.
If you don't grab it that day.
Yeah, if you don't generate off, if you have it reset on Friday at noon and you don't grab offers until after Saturday at noon, it will then be on Saturday. Because these are weekly offers, they're intended to last for roughly 7 days so that you have time to sort of see them and review them. One of the problems with doing it at a fixed time, at a fixed date and time, is that if I'm a new player and I log in on Wednesday at 11:55 and go to look at my weekly offers, they will last for 5 minutes and then disappear, which is obviously not our intention of the system. Our intention of the system is you go look at your offers and they're there for a week. I think
so there's two layers of drift here.
There is no drift anymore.
Right. I think
If
I'm
you are
reading
logging in and viewing your offers at the same time, they will reset at the same time every week, which is not drift.
I think there's two definitions of drift here, right? One is that they shift days, and when we initially talked about this, the idea of drift was that every time it was moving forward by the difference in the time from when you claimed it. So you started at midnight, and then it was an hour in, and then we waited 15 minutes. Like you could move whatever the distance was between the time that it was generated and the time you actually opened it and made the call to the server was slowly over time shifting the time or drifting the time forward. Whereas this is locked in at a given time, but it does change day to day because it always lasts for 1 week from the time that you generated them.
That's the old one, yes.
Yes.
The new one no longer does that. The new one, the way it works now.
Are you sure? Sorry, maybe I misunderstood. I thought you could. If you skipped a day, it would skip forward a day. So you can still slowly drift.
Yes. If you play the game, every day
Yeah.
and check for your offers when they become available. They will reset at the same time every week.
Yes.
If you miss some days, then your offers will generate and will be valid for up to 7 days from the time at which you missed. If you miss some days, you drift. That is true.
Yes, but not if you miss an hour. Do you drift by
But if you miss an hour, it doesn't drift.
It doesn't drift by an hour.
If you miss 23 hours, it doesn't drift. It's only if you don't play. So you wanted no drift, but the thing is, like, when does that start?
So they were
Right?
So what they wanted
Like-
was a locked-in reset day,
Yeah.
which is different from
And
a
I don't-
7 days from when you.
And I don't want to do a locked-in reset day because that will cause
You just didn't want to do it.
that will
The design of the
it causes,
system
it
wasn't
causes
that it
the
was
same
locked in.
thing that patron challenges resetting cause. It causes the same thing that events turning on and off cause, which is
You were hoping it
potential
wouldn't cause
server
a
downtime.
spike,
Yes.
a spike in the load.
We're
when
trying
every
to
single
spread
person-
out. We're trying to spread out the resets for these people over the 7 days of the week, so that it's not the entire population of the game resetting at once.
Okay, I mean, I see in Garwa's comment, I think there's a misunderstanding of what we thought drift was, which, and at least totally in my mind, it was that minute by minute, hour by hour shift forward in time.
That's
as
what I
opposed to
thought
having
people were
a
complaining
locked
about, where it's
daily-
like if I don't log in and check my offers immediately after them ending,
Yeah.
they're going to evenally drift to the point
It
where
wa- it
they're
was
going to be
the I-
resetting in the
right.
middle of the night.
Yeah, it was the I play every day at 7 o'clock problem, and soon my drift is, my offers are resetting at 8 o'clock, and then they're drifting at 9 o'clock, and now they're not
Yeah.
there when I'm playing, and
And
that's no fun for me.
oh, I'm not going to be able to reset them until the next day, and it's going to be like 12 hours, and then they're going to drift from that through the day as well. Where you get even if you play every day, and are looking at your offers right away, with the old system, you're going to get this inevitable drift, over time, where like once a week you'll probably shift by at least a day or two.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like this
once
is
a month or whatever.
a misunderstanding of what what people meant by the word drift.
Yeah.
But okay.
I would also argue that there's probably not a universal expectation of what that was as well. Like, we certainly have one interpretation of that. Garwar, some other people in chat have another interpretation of that. There are other people in chat who have the same interpretation we did. So I think the big thing here is I don't have any interest in making it reset at the same time or the same day every week for everyone, because I don't like having to fix servers when they crash.
Yeah, it was not even that the servers would crash; it's that they would be a momentary unavailability because the
Yes,
game was
yeah.
effectively DDoSing itself.
Yes.
When you get 10,000 requests all at once. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to something less heated than drift. Next question. This one is from Library of Akasha. It says, actually, suggestion. Place a button in the screen when you open the game, which ends the current adventure and puts you back on the map. For those cases when something bugs out and you can't get back into the game without contacting support to fix it for you.
Yeah, I thought that we actually had something like
We
this.
do have something
We've
like
got
that.
we've got a skip. We've got something that will skip offline progress, don't we?
Yes. If the offline progress detects like a fail, if you're in the process of doing offline progress when the client gets terminated, the next time you launch the client, it will offer you the option to skip the offline progress.
Right.
And so that is to cover a case where something has gone wrong during the offline progress, like an exception is occurring that is preventing the offline progress from finishing, which was a lot of cases where you had to then contact support for that. And it's awkward to contact support when you can't get into the client because now you're emailing us instead of opening the support page. And so, yeah, there is that functionality there. And I believe we also had it so you held down a button. You could hold down a button to cause that to happen. I believe it is space. I haven't looked at it in a long time, so someone would have to confirm that for me. But I believe you could hold down that key while it was doing the offline progress, and it would then pop up and offer you the option. But at any rate, if you terminate the client during an offline progress, it will offer you that option to skip the offline progress. However, as per the question, it doesn't offer you the option to cancel the current running adventure and hop back to the map. So
Yeah, I feel like there's probably some optimizations we can make here. Oh, this is super handy. Come on, just trying to copy and paste something, and it's putting these frickin' icons on top of. Good Lord, Twitch. I'm trying to copy a question, and of course, it's putting these little icons on top of the text.
Yeah.
And then when I mouse over that, it does messed up select things. All right.
This is going well.
Yeah. So
We'll get you a cookie after this
I
stream.
feel like there should be there's probably a second level of stuff we can do to this to like allow you to kind of opt out of the adventure you're on or something like that. Or I mean, OG17 had a good kind of suggestion here, which was the one I was trying to copy into our doc, where there should be a support button on the load screen.
Actually,
so if it messes up.
The Library of Akasha asks that as a suggestion a handful of questions later.
Yeah,
actually.
perfect.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there it is right there. I see it. We can now cross that out because that has been put into the document.
I mean, I think that is something that we could add at the point of the user account loading.
Yeah, we'll have it at user account loading. We wouldn't have it before then because it's
you don't necessarily have your account credentials before the user account portion gets loaded.
Yeah, but I don't think you generally. We could probably do it on a per platform basis because it is for our credentials, not the user. Well, but yeah. But
at the very least, the button could say, "Hey, the client, crashed out before the user client or user credentials were loaded. How would you like? You can email this address for support or that sort of thing."
It feels like we don't. Like there's not a lot to if something crashes in the client before user details are loaded, that's going to have to be something that is platform related that is causing it to crash, and then that's probably going to be affecting a larger number of players, and we're gonna notice that.
That's true.
A little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So I think a support button.
If Steam's login is down, then
I think a support button on the load screen after user details are loaded, so it can go to the page and have your credentials, would probably provide an out for a lot of these cases.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right, next question. This one is also from Library of Akasha, asking, is there any news on Blacksmith Scroll or bounty contract conversion upwards merchant or something?
The notary.
Still would be useful, and huge bounty contracts like Blacksmith Scrolls already have. Removing the eye level limit on Full Dismantle would be a bootleg version of this, but just for the Blacksmith Scrolls.
We're not removing the item level limit on Full Dismantles. Yes, so the Apothecary / Notary system is, I believe it's going to start development soonish, and then we'll kind of see how long it takes to iterate on. But it's one of the next things in the pipe. And we are hoping to have a lot of stuff in there that will be very good quality of life for people who have a lot of stuff.
I'm going to change the episode title, Justin, too. The one where Justin tells you things he's not going to do.
We are doing the Apothecary, but I am not removing item levels, and I'm not fixing drift. I mean, I already fixed drift is my point, but I'm not double fixing it.
One drift is much like the other. Okay, next question. This one is from Foolish Genius 89, asking, is there a viable way to add scavenger abilities to the quest tracker?
I mean, probably.
Sean got confused.
There's probably a way to add scavenger abilities to the quest tracker. But I think it probably wouldn't be worth the squeeze. What's going on? I'm doing a one-man reenactment of Pacific Rim. I don't get that. I haven't seen Pacific Rim. Have you seen Pacific Rim?
Oh yeah, a couple of times.
Am I? All I know is they get in giant robots and fight monsters. Is that right?
Yeah, the kaijus that come out of the ocean rift and.
They fight Godzillas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, but not Godzilla specifically.
Okay.
That's a different franchise. Oh, wait a minute.
Anywho,
All I
adding a
know is they got like a
scavenger.
sword the guy
Yeah.
pulls out near the end, and it's like super powerful. And it's like, why didn't you use that earlier? Like,
Adding the scavenger, the abilities to the quest tracker. I imagine we could probably do it, but my guess is it would be a huge pain in the butt code-wise because the scavenger abilities are tied to champion effects, which are tied to the champions, which would then need to be loaded at all cases in order to show the proper numbers there. And there's probably things that like update at weird time. I imagine it wouldn't be worth it. If I was going to put something like this on a to-do list, I would probably put it pretty far down because I would expect it to take a very long time compared to other things which would have a better or a higher kind of return for the effort.
yeah, they're still discussing Pacific Rim.
Okay.
They have giant robots and fight monsters was the entire shooting script. I think that's probably true.
Yeah, that's what I had of it.
It's one of those movies that I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. And then afterwards I watched it again. I was like, yeah, actually, that was kind of fun. So
No, you know what movie that was for me? The Meg.
I have not seen it.
Oh my gosh, it is the best dumb movie ever.
Better than Cocaine Bear?
I haven't seen Cocaine Bear.
Oh. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, The Meg was actually a good, it was a good, bad movie. It was good. You should watch it. And
Can't
apparently
use
there's
the term cocaine in chat.
apparently there's a sequel to The Meg. There's The Meg 2, which I assume is just as good, but I haven't seen it. Anyway,
All right.
what do we do here?
I think we do a giveaway where we give out
Oh, we do
free
giveaways.
chests.
Yes, we're here to talk about movies and say the word drift and give away 42 gold chests of your choice.
That's our other podcast.
So the way this works, if you haven't been here before, there's a secret code that is now visible in chat. All you have to do is copy that secret code into the chat and you'll be entered for a chance to win 42 gold chests of your choice. It can be any type of chest, any type of gold chest that exists in the game, or Modron component chests, or other chests that don't have the word platinum in them, as long as they don't have the word Bahamut in them. It's a very complicated series of rules and whatnot. But yeah, I would
For reasons even you don't understand.
I don't even really
Yeah.
understand why we do what we do. Yeah. Oh, don't copy the whole thing, Iowa, USA, in 2017. Just the secret code. Anywho, what other types of chests, I guess, could they ask for if they didn't want gold chests or?
You mean other than my personal favorite, the clairvoyant admin chest?
Yes, of course. Other than that,
That one, yeah.
yeah.
We really should give that away at some point. People would appreciate that one. I don't know. I like a square chest,
Oh,
or perhaps a cap chest, maybe a slotted chest.
a slotted chest.
What about an
Good.
acorn chest? An acorn chest is good.
Yeah.
I don't.
Shapes.
A
little bit more
What about a
low level than
a
that.
tea chest? I'm always fond of a castle chest. Every now and then, I like myself
types
a
is
good
close.
5/16 hex jam chest,
I like that kind of chest too.
or a carriage chest. Oh, I already did that one, didn't I? Or maybe
Oh, Garwar got it. Garwar. It was nuts.
types of nuts.
Good job, Garwar.
Okie dokie.
It was nuts.
Yep.
But not the kind you eat, the kind you fasten things with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, returning to the question.
You sure it wasn't the A563 grade A heavy hex nut that was the giveaway?
See, I think that would have been
Yeah.
the giveaway.
Yeah.
Okay, next question's from Rough Rider 1995,
We're allowed to say.
who has asked,
Who's asking?
is asking,
Would like to know.
it has asked, when will we be able to jump to a specific completed zone rather than click a million times? And I assume they put million in quotes there so that we couldn't nitpick the fact that obviously you don't have to click a million times.
Yep. I mean, if you're trying to get to area million, then that would have to be. But soon, TM? It is on the list. It isn't something that's been assigned yet.
That is on the list, yes. I've seen that on the list. And every time it gets asked, we highlight it in yellow and then confirm that it is indeed on the list.
Yep. It is definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Asphila357. When buying gold or silver chests for gems, can we get a buy more / again option instead of requiring us to re-click buy now and again reconfirming, similar to how contracts currently works, or using contracts?
Yeah, that's an interesting approach to that. I think I'm going to hold off on saying yes to
no.
this.
This has a slider that goes up to like
It does. Yeah, it goes up to like
1,000?
500 or 1,000.
It goes up quite
possibly.
high.
But I will say to this, wait for the apothecary / notary system to be released.
Wait for the Meg 2
and
chests.
then we'll see whether this is still necessary. Because I think we've got some stuff in there that kind of will render this
into a nice spot?
like a cow's opinion.
Moo point.
A moo point.
Yes.
Speaking of esoteric references, all of our references come from the late 1990s to early 2000s, because that's when we just sat at home and watched TV instead of going to class.
Is that what I did?
Well, that's what I did. I don't
I
know.
don't recall the specifics. Next question. This one is from Nighthawk78. Could we please have the weekly offer reset at noon on Wednesdays instead of whatever day we happen to have the weekly offers drift to before the patch?
No. This is just the show where I say no. Yeah, for the reasons that we stated in the last one. I would rather have the weekly resets or the weekly offer resets spread throughout the week. For the most part, I'd rather have a lot of that stuff spread throughout the week. Yeah, there's certain things that do reset on the same time, or the same day every week, or release at the same day every week.
Like the show.
Like this show.
It resets at the same time every week.
We should add drift to the show.
No.
If we miss an episode,
it just goes to the next day.
We just move to Friday or like
Saturday,
Monday or
Sunday.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for things that are personalized, like personalized offers like that, yeah, I think at least notify us when it's ready. I think we could probably do something like that, like have some sort of pop-up or notification that says like, hey, new weekly offers available.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't do that. There's a button to the shop. We really should.
All right. Next question. This one is from Library of Akasha asking, oh, no, it's a suggestion. Suggestion, a blessing that gives initial gold or initial champion levels based on the current favor level, or not. Maybe a blessing that increases initial champions, like how when you first start up an adventure, seat 1 is level 1 and already there when you load in. Could seat 2 also be level 1 and already ready to go when you load in? Or other higher number seats too, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like this is probably possible, and it's within it's one of the few kind of Library of Akasha suggestions that I don't immediately see like why this would be super exploitable. So I think that, maybe this is something we could do where you just, start with champions at a certain level, or start with enough gold to get them at a certain level or something like that. Because I don't think that would necessarily, I can't think of anything that would break right off the bat in terms of, being exploitable to like farm things faster. It feels like that's just kind of a purely kind of quality of life thing. So yeah, like a blessing that gives initial gold, it seems fairly possible. There's some folks in chat who have concerns about the idea of having other champions that are already in the formation, since there's already kind of edge cases where you don't want that. So yeah, but I could definitely see just giving out some gold, having enough gold to kind of, level up everyone in your bar that you want to level up. Because the thing that I have right now, or the thing that I notice that's kind of annoying, is like you'll have the first couple of seats kind of visible. You'll load in a formation and it'll just put formation or familiars onto those seats that you can see, and then you kind of gotta go the whole way and do a couple of rounds of loading the formation. Well, 2. I guess we added an option to see all the seats though, didn't we?
I thought we did.
Should go enable that option, then I wouldn't have that problem. Anyway.
All right. Next question. This
sure.
one is from Xavian 2018, asking, with Eliwick increasing people's gen income, an increased number of people are hitting the 32-bit limit of total gems earned integer. Oh boy. Is there any chance that we can increase this to 64 bits? People are hitting the cap. I was going to roll over. You think this is something the Apothecary update is going to help with?
In this case, I don't think this is something the Apothecary update is going to fix.
Can we maybe make like an ultra gem you can just collect, and it costs 32? It costs 2 to the 32 gems, and that's just, and you just
once you're capped, you get an ultra gem, and then you can
it just
start
goes back
over
to
again.
0.
Yeah.
And then you're actually just trying to get a number of ultra gems. It's
Well, until the people are like, hey, I've got 2 to the 32 ultra gem. I got 4 billion ultra gems. Can I please have?
Well, that's a problem for future us.
That's a problem for us.
We put it off. This solves it for a year.
Well, okay. If it took this long for people to get to the cap, then it will take the cap to the times the cap for them to get to the ultra gen cap. So all we have to do is delay for whatever that is, 42 billion years, and we'll be good.
Yeah. So we got some suggestions here. We got chaos gems. See, that sounds cool. The prestige gems.
Mm-hmm.
So prestige is to chaos gems.
Little bit on the nose.
Ultra gems.
Yeah. All right. Well,
prestige gems is 2 on the nose. You don't think?
We'll have to figure out what to do there. There's probably something we can do there.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it makes sense to just up the limit, or if it makes sense to have some
do some sort of prestige. It's kind of a weird kind of thing, because it's like, we'll have to think about that.
We'll do a gem trading market.
That wouldn't affect anything, because it's the number of gems you've earned that is hitting the limit, not the number of gems you have.
Oh, the stat value.
Yeah, the stat value.
Right, because that's
Actually,
not actually a stat.
It's not even a stat.
It's not in our system. It's not a stat.
It's one of
a field that stands alone.
Yeah, it's one of the few fields that's actually just in the.
It's in your user data table.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we will think about that for sure.
5 ultra gems to unlock Garwar is playable. I'm starting to think, based off of Garwar's questions, what I'm actually going to do is just do a Garwar skin for Vi. Because Vi's already got a lot of SAS-based abilities.
Oh, how many more minutes to survive? Okay, next question. This one is from OG17, who is asking, with the cash feat exclusivity period, can there be some in-game notice for when they go to gems? Maybe with bench icons. Last week said there'd be a countdown in BIOS. I think this supposed to be BIOS. Why do I call it BIOS? Way to read. But that's not enough. Previously, we just check new packs for feats and get them or not, but no one's going to remember those after a 3-month delay or keep leafing through character bios. We'll have to track them down with a text file, or with third-party tools.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the best way is to approach this. Basically, I think what you're looking for is just a page you can bring up that says, hey, these feats are going to become available, or have just become available for gems. I'm not sure how we would go about doing that in game in a way that would really make sense and not kind of feel like just a one-off kind of place. I'd have to think about exactly how we'd want to display that. Right now, a unified place to buy feats, I think, would make sense. It's Emote saying that in chat there. So like putting feats into the store on the gem tab or something like that.
Yeah,
the main reason we don't
sort and filter them nicer, because there's so many of them.
Yeah, the main reason we don't do that, to Dave's point, is there's just so many gem feats that we just the gem tab would just be filled with 50 or 60 pages of gem feats. So when you first start playing the game, obviously when you get later into the game, not so much so, but early on there'd be a ton.
Yeah, well, we could put the ones that are in for mega gems.
Yeah. Spend your chaos gems and you can skip the exclusivity period.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Xavian 2018. Running the new variant, aligned in purpose, in the background causes the game to freeze during Modron resets for the foreground party. Why wasn't this caught during testing?
Yeah, that's
I love how they're
a
not asking for a fix. They just want to know why it wasn't caught.
why it wasn't caught during testing is we probably didn't test for that.
Yeah, that is
I think
probably not something that.
variants, yeah, when we're testing variants, I think we're generally testing that they work in the foreground. I don't think we have a test case that Nathaniel runs through to test progress in the background.
Or that
And that's,
causes the game to freeze. That's
yeah, I mean, I think it's a rare case where we'll have a variant that has something that causes the game to freeze in the background, and so I think we just haven't
Has this happened
we haven't
before? Do
caught
we have a
that.
case where the background causes a reset in the background causes the foreground to just
Well,
freeze?
a reset in the foreground causes, or the background just being there causes a foreground reset to freeze. I mean, that sounds, I haven't heard of that happening before.
Yeah.
I'm sure the dev team at this point has heard of that happening now that this has happened
This has
with this
happened.
variant. We'll double check to make sure that this is on the bug list and is being addressed.
Yeah. I think in general,
and-
the kind of reason
yeah.
why something like this wouldn't be sort of caught in the testing is because we can't test for everything before things go out. And so we test for the things that we have seen happen before and the things that we think can happen. I haven't personally seen this type of thing happen before, so
Yeah.
I can see why it would be like, why are you not? Why didn't we check for it? Probably because it wasn't in the list of things we thought we had seen happen or could happen. I'll have to find out exactly why this is happening, like what reason it is, because clearly it's sort of a new reason,
Yeah.
a new bug. I love new bugs. Just when you think they couldn't come up with something better, they make a better bug. Okie dokie.
This is the same question as the gem one above.
Okay.
Here. Okay.
Next question. This one is from Jets67. Any update or more consideration given to the Modron reset on Briv stacks?
Yes. So I have designed a number of additional reset options at this point for Modron. We are just waiting for an opportunity to slot that into the dev cycle, which is to say it is most likely nowhere close to to being done. We have a lot of stuff on the priority queue ahead of advanced Modron resets. So it is probably not something that is very close, but it is definitely still on the list, and yeah, I've done some design on it. It's a little bit more complicated than you might think because of background parties and offline progress. It's a lot easier to do a reset on, hey, when you reach a certain area, do a reset, because areas are something that you kind of naturally get as you progress. Whereas like Briv stacks are something that we would have to then sim pretty tightly in order to do the resets at the right time. And then the other thing is like the way that multiple background party or offline progress resets work is we kind of do one and then we batch up the amount of time that takes and then we repeat it over and over again and just sort of use up your offline time in that way. So we're not actually simulating every single run, we're just simulating one full run and then reusing that. And so when you get into some of these advanced Modron reset options, they get a little bit more variable, and it doesn't get necessarily as trustworthy to just reset and reuse the same one over and over again. We have to find some sort of heuristic that says like, oh, this was an average run, or this was the min or max time for the run, or stuff like that. So there's some stuff that that we need to address, I think, before that'll be really easy to do. But I imagine that'll just be part of that when we eventually get to doing it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sort of reading the chat there saying that the Briv jumps aren't happening in the background or in general, but in the foreground that would still be a problem. I do think that putting that option into the Modron reset settings would cause a lot of confusion if it didn't work in the background.
Yeah, and it's background and offline progress.
Yeah.
Offline progress is more what I'm thinking. And I mean, yeah, Briv doesn't work in either of those, but people still close the game and they come back and they've got Briv in their party. So it still needs to, if they got a reset option based off of that, it still needs to work properly.
Correct. Okie dokie. Next question is from Moin Yulu. Are you happy with the current state of tanks and healers in the late game?
So this is the episode where I say no?
I mean, that seems to be...
No. No, I'm not happy with the current state of tanks and healers in the late game. We definitely we have some scaling issues with monster, with monster damage, with tank health. It's something that we haven't really, I think, taken a close look at on the design side in terms of what the variability in that is recently. There is a lot of variability in tank health because of tank health is one of those things that can be buffed by equipment levels. So if you've got, eye level 10,000 on your equipment versus eye level 1, you've got a wide range in sort of tank health options there. So balancing monster damage around that is challenging. And then you take into account like potions and blessings and patron perks and stuff like that can also increase tank health. We just have such a wide range of tank health that it makes it very difficult to balance monster damage around that in a way that is compelling or interesting for the majority of players. Generally we end up with, and we're in the system we have now, where it's either your tanks are either getting one shot by monsters or they are surviving indefinitely. And I think we have to find some sort of solution to tanking, to health, to monster damage that isn't so variable before we can get to a point where we can balance that to add any sort of strategy around tanking and healing, and having a certain number of tanks and a certain number of healers balanced in your party, and having that be something that's impactful in higher areas. So, no, I'm not happy with where it is. I've spent, not recently, but I have spent time, I think last year or the year before, sort of thinking about how that would look. And actually, Ravenous BBOT said hit-based health for tanks, and that was actually one of the things that we were thinking about, that I was thinking about doing, is some sort of hit-based or armored hit-based or something like that to
give the armored to the heroes.
To the heroes.
Yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
There's an option.
Yeah, it's balancing that stuff is challenging. I think the biggest problem with sort of doing a redo of it that kind of tries to balance it in a more interesting way is we would have to take a bunch of, we'd have to take away a bunch of items and equipment and stuff that do plus health, or severely nerf them so that the range of health that is available to tanks wasn't so large. And I'm not sure how to do that without it seeming like we're just nerfing tanks, or nerfing people who have invested a lot of time and energy into getting all of those plus health items up and getting all the blessings and perks and stuff to give their tanks as much health as possible. So it's a challenge, and I'm not happy with it. I don't like a challenge. Everything should be easy. Grr.
Okay. Next question. This one is from Extraversion. Can
Yes.
we get the pause speed button on a hotkey? That would be so convenient.
There's only one O there.
That's fine. Just added it. Sounded good to me.
All right, I'll add some extra O's in.
Yeah.
There you
For
go.
gold favor farming, especially Azaka and Makos farming.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Dave?
We need
a hotkey. We'd have to find a hotkey to begin with that hasn't already been used, and then assigning it to basically toggle a specific button in a specific dialogue.
I mean, I do like the more people ask for custom hotkeys, the more it grows on me as as something that I think would be nice to have or nice to give people.
I think this one would have to be a custom hotkey that you would have to manually assign, because otherwise we'd run into the kind of thing that we talk about on the show from time to time, where people accidentally do something that makes their game experience worse. Like, imagine somebody who puts a bunch of potions on and then is trying to type in Discord or something and accidentally hits the hotkey with the game in focus, and then all of their speed potions turn off, and they're like, "What? Why?"
Yeah. I mean, or have it one that's behind a key combination, right? I think that's, we're sort of low on hotkeys in general. So being able to just have something be control this or alt this or control shift alt that, enough combination keys that you're not going to accidentally do it, would probably kind of alleviate that for the most part. But yeah, no, like I say, I do think that custom hotkeys would be a nice thing to add. I don't think it would be the end of the world to get it in there. Like, it doesn't seem that common. Right? It doesn't
Like
feel like
the world wouldn't end if we
I-
got it in there. If we put in custom hotkeys,
Yes,
a meteor
yes.
would not slam into the earth,
some
eradicating
features,
all
yeah.
life. Okay, well
Releasing
that's good to know.
giant sharks all over the place. Hi,
Giant sharks
bears.
and the creatures that come out of rifts, and we have to get into
Yeah.
giant robots to fight them.
Mist everywhere.
People drifting all over the place.
Yep.
Anywho, do we have time for
Yeah,
one more?
let's have one more
okay.
question.
The last question here is from Jets67, who asks, FPS follow-up for console/PC. Has any more consideration been given to increasing or at least giving the option of changing the FPS from 60 to 120 FPS in settings? Would that not be a better option than people changing files on PC? Also, in regards to performance, people with less PC power than my Xbox Series X are getting 30% better performance than what I achieve when they have adjusted their FPS to 120 up from 60.
Yeah, and this is a follow-up from the question we got last week.
Yes.
Asking about having the option on console specifically to go beyond 60. Yeah, I mean, as I said last week, I think it's something that we could certainly put in there. I make no promises as to sort of what the actual performance uplift you would get from that is, because we are such a heavily CPU bound game. But I think it's certainly something that we could consider putting in there. Like I said, again, I make no promises that would sort of give an uplift, especially in the cases when you had a large number of enemies on the screen, because that tends to be, like I say, where the performance bottleneck occurs in calculating ability updates when there's a large number of enemies. But I think we could put that in there fairly straightforwardly. Certainly in the PC settings where, you know, it's just a max. It's not a, yeah. So, yep, I'll tag it.
Wunderbar.
All right. Well, that is most certainly all of the time that we have today for questions.
Yes. If we didn't get to your question, don't fret. You'll have another opportunity. We'll be live again next week. Yeah, we'll be live again next week.
I think so.
Before we sign off, though, we'd like to thank our tireless mod, Sean. They're our mod. I should really rewrite this.
That's true. And of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, asking such great questions, and enjoying the game. Because without you, no one here would get to do what we do.
And we like what we do.
All righty. That's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. Hopefully
Or evening.
or wherever they're
or
at.
morning.
All right, Justin. Well, in keeping with our episode title, what prize did Gaston win?
Gaston. Must have been 4 dozen eggs.
Nope, he won the Nobel Prize.
Poor Gaston.
I don't really feel bad for him.